Well, my friends, the boys are back in town in this community cast showdown featuring the Greenskins, who shall be led by Hadries, and the Vampire Coast, who's going to be helmed by Cocaine Round, which sounds more like a Skaven name, but hey, to each their own. So as far as the Greenskin build goes, here in the front line, it's going to be a big old angry WAAAGH. So it's going to be a combination of Savage Orc boys, as well as Black Orcs here in the middle. And I think he has another group on the far side as well. So the Savage Orcs, definitely not a bad choice against Vampire Coast. They hit incredibly hard for the cost. 36 melee attack, 38 weapon strength, pretty good charge bonus of 28. So if they're facing off against zombie-powered deckhand mobs, or just kind of an expendable chaff infantry or the polearm variant, they are going to be able to crump those guys very quickly and get into the back line. Now, they're not going to be as good against blitz builds, so if you're facing off against Prometheans and Depth Guard and things like that, but nonetheless, I think they make a pretty good inclusion here in this build. On top of that, he does have some Orc boys as well. Orc boys are shielded, a little bit more durable here. They're still able to beat zombie-powered deckhand mobs, and they can also take a little bit more pounding than Savage Orcs can, so it's nice to see the mixed forces here. Definitely pretty cool. And he does have the Black Orcs. Now, Black Orcs are, kind of a safeguard against the very elite Vampire Coast build. So if they come in with Depth Guard and routing Prometheans, Lamprey's Revenge, those some, elite troops. The Black Orcs are really going to give you a good anchor in your front line. They can beat down Depth Guard. Plus, they're also immune to psychology. So if you are going to be using a lot of Orc bow units, and you can see here in the back line, we have Savage Orc Air Boys, the Rusty Airs, a huge missile core here for the Greenskins. If you don't have Black Orcs, you could potentially get overrun in the front line, because those Savage Orcs and Orc Boys do a pretty good job against standard zombie-powered deckhand mobs and the polearms and stuff like that. They will get absolutely crumped by like Mourngulls and the crabs and the Leviathans and things like that. So having the Black Orcs as an anchor piece, I think is very good. These guys are durable, they're immune to psych, have a huge HP pool of 8,100. Compared to Savage Orcs, yeah, it's almost 1,000 more HP, so those guys are pretty tanky. In the back, he has a bunch of archers, and archer units are pretty much always good against the Vampire Coast. You have 140 range on these guys, and I think the Handguns of the Coast has 145, so it's one of the matchups in which archers actually can't outrange you, but they have really good arcs of fire, and honestly, they're pretty cheap, so using them to pick apart the Vampire Coast guns, I found to be pretty efficient. Plus, if they go with crabs, the Necrofex Colossus, just anything like that, having the firepower to kind of drag those guys down is super essential, because it's very tough for the Greenskins to get in there with Orc Boy Biggins, because Orc Boy Biggins, that was like one of the first tongue twisters of Total War Warhammer. But if you're trying to shut down the big stuff on the Vampire Coast with the boars and the piggies and stuff like that, it's not always super efficient because of the really cheap polearms, right? They have cheap polearms, they have Mourngulls, they have a lot of terror-causing units, and of course those boar piggy boys aren't going to be super good at enduring that. In the back, it's mostly just archers though, and here on the flanks we do have WAAAGH, and he's going to be coming in rock hard with the Spirit Leech, which is just guaranteed value, and he does also have the Night Goblin Shaman, so probably expecting the Necrofex Colossus or Noctilus on that steed right there, so getting the perpetual missile attacks, plus the Spirit Leech is certainly going to be very good. Granted, Noctilus isn't as strong as he used to be. Of course, his summons don't last terribly long. And one of the things that made him so busted before was the fact that he had so many summons that he could just litter the battlefield with zombies, which is very, very good. So we got a Goblin Shaman here. On the backside, we do have some Forest Goblin Spider Riders on their little spider mounts ready to party. And up here on the hill, we do have the 8 Loonies who are going to be leading the Vanguard. And now for the forces of Vampire Coast. So we have an entire front line of zombie-powered deckhand mobs, which, they have a lot of HP. They actually have more than Black Orcs. They can take a beating pretty well, but they are going to be losing to all these Greenskin troops. So you're going to need to get to your value from the back line. So we got Gunnery Mob. So these are the pistol variants. These guys are going to be doing very good against Savage Orcs, not so good against Black Orcs or the Orc Boys, but, if focused correctly on the Savage Orcs, they are definitely going to be able to take some, good HP off them. In the back, we have some handguns. So we have handguns here, and handguns here. So I really like this formation. This is very much like a pre-patch Vampire Coast. So before summons got nerfed, this was kind of a pretty common deployment style, just using the gun lines and using the summons from Noctilus to really kind of plug your front line as they get collapsed on. So it's pretty good stuff here. He's got guns in the back. He's got the Lamprey's Revenge. Yeah, I was about to say the Rotting Leviathan Revenge, but he does have the Lamprey's Revenge here in the back. And these guys are great against Greenskins. They're heavily armored. Greenskin archers don't have the best AP. The Rusty Airs can kind of sunder them a little bit, but even still, they're very tough to kill. They're very efficient against Black Orcs in combat with their armor-piercing attacks. They regenerate. Just an all-around solid pick against Greenskins. He does also have the Night Terrors, the Mourngulls here in the back, and these guys, they still cause terror. Now, this is something that makes them a little bit more useful because before they were, they rampage. They had a little bit of a better stat line, but now they actually cause terror, whereas regular Mourngulls do not. So there is a bit of a niche to kind of pick those guys in a matchup against Greenskins or these low leadership factions. So definitely a pretty solid little army here. Hadries is going to have his work cut out for him with the Spider Riders trying to get into this back line, so let's see how it goes. So the Greenskin WAAAGH is going to be advancing. It looks like the Goblin Shaman might be dropping some thunder here. I saw some sort of a cast right there, and the Vindictive Glare is going to be going into the Gunnery Mobs, and it looks like it does take out 7 models, so it didn't do too much damage. Maybe if you get lined up a little bit more on the side, I actually have never used it. I always use it against I've used it, but just not against units like this. I always tend to use the Goblin Sniping against characters or big targets or things like that, but I've never really tested its applications in the, the kind of the AoE targets or group targets. Sorry, let me adjust my chair real quick. Goddamn thing. Give me so much grief lately. Anyways, in the back, you can see WAAAGH is going to be flying over, taking some of this powder fire here from the handguns, and it looks like he might be coming in for a Spirit Leech, but taking a little bit of free fire. He's probably going to want to pull back here in a moment. Maybe he just thought these were the short-range variant, but they are going to be kind of hammering him with some of their AP missile shots. He does have 70 armor, but again, that is going to be heavily pierced. And the goblins in the back are stirring in the forest. The lads might be thinking about coming out. Looks like they did move there for a second. And on the far side, we have a pretty early engagement, so you can see that the Warlords, the Warlords AP Cloonies. The AP Cloonies are going to be jumping in here, and these guys are unbreakable, so they're going to be taking a beating, but probably going to be getting cut down by just a sort of zombies. They're also going to be taking some crossfire, but at the very least, they're occupying 2 defensive units. These are units that could be elsewhere in the back line defending, but they're both occupied here with the little goblins, so it's certainly not bad. In the middle, there's going to be a Wraith Storm going down as well, going to be slamming into the Savage Orcs, and man, those Savage Orcs just got crumbed, so they got shot to pieces by all the handguns. They're going to be getting pushed back. And hey, at the very least, the WAAAGH is going to be helping those guys to retreat. Some of the Night Goblin Archers do overextend a little bit, but here they're going to be pulling back, and the Orc Archers are now tearing into the back line. So the Gunnery Mobs are going to be taking some withering fire here, and the Black Orcs are going to be reaching this frontline engagement, and should certainly be able to make some pretty quick work. The Black Orcs also aren't going to be bad against Lamprey's Revenge. Lamprey's Revenge do have pretty good melee defense at 63, but at least the Black Orcs have melee defense like close to 40. They have good AP, so maybe they could potentially do some damage over the course of a long fight. In the meantime, the Greenskins are getting into the back line. Force Goblins Fighter Riders are going to be trying to get around these halberds. Looks like they might get caught up just a little bit. Noctilus, it looks like he's going to be shooting at some of the archers here and also summoning some of these zombie-powered deckhand mobs to just lay some pot shots into the back line of the Greenskins. And some of the zombies actually getting here in the back line. The summons of Noctilus with Roth's Moondial are going to be pushing into the Rusty Errors, and these zombie-powered deckhand mobs are also in the back line. So the Greenskin back line in a little bit of trouble, but Orc Airboys and Greenskin Archers outside of Goblins are actually somewhat durable in combat, so they should be able to fend off these zombies and then continue to shoot, which makes them a better pick than Goblins in many people's eyes. In the meantime, these Black Orcs actually doing a ton of damage against Lamprey's Revenge. Definitely a very solid performance. And Black Orcs are one of those like great open units that are not dependent on bonus first infantry or bonus first large. They're just like generally good against all armored targets. So this makes them pretty good against constructs and crabby boys like this. So I really do like the Black Orc pick here in this matchup. Lamprey's Revenge is going to be getting slapped with the new Invocation of the Heck, or I should say nerfed, which does cost a little bit more, but nonetheless it's going to help them endure as they are taking some heavy firepower from the Savage Orc Airboys in the back as well. The bounce fire is pretty even here. Noctilus is in good shape. He's still shooting. He hasn't taken too much pressure. In the back, you can see WAAAGH is actually taking quite a bit of damage here from some of the powder weaponry of the Vampire Coast, so he certainly needs to be careful. And the Morgul's and company are doing a good job just cleaning up the Orcs here on the flank. So these Savage Orcs are going to be getting slapped by these inflatable arms, used car salesmen, monstrosities. I don't know. You guys know what I'm talking about. You know how when you go like to a used car sales lot or you drive past one, you always have those like big wacky guys with the inflatable arms going around. That's basically what Morgul's are. So, Morgul's going to be fighting here. A Spirit Leech is going to be going down on the Morgul's as well from WAAAGH, so it doesn't look like he's going to be going after Noctilus with the Spirit Leeches. Rather, he's going to be trying to take out some of the monstrous threats. So the Greenskins did get pushed back initially in the front line, but the Black Orcs are enduring. Those guys are pushing into the back, and the Greenskin Archers that did take an initial beating are going to be coming back and laying some, supporting fire against the Crabs and Noctilus and some of these other troops. The Black Orcs doing really good, though. I mean, these guys have been fighting the Crabs the entire time. They're going to be pushing them back. Man, great performance here from the Black Orcs. And it looks like they're going to be swarming on Noctilus. Some of them might get pegged here. Certainly not going to be the best situation for them. And the Lamprey's Revenge are going to be kind of surging in here. So the Black Orcs in a little bit of trouble, but this is what they're designed to do. They're tanky. They're immune to psych. These guys are armored. They're going to be holding and just kind of tar pitting these units back here, which is a pretty good situation for them. Because if Lamprey's Revenge were able to push into the back line, go after archers, and get on some of those squishier targets, it could be quite scary. So the Goblin Shaman still dropping some of that hot thunder here on Noctilus. It looks like he's been having steady casts of the Vindictive Glare this entire game, but look at this. Vampire Coast was able to just crush this flank. They have a bunch of halberds and Morgul's coming over here, so that's going to be a lot of pressure here for the Greenskins, but Greenskins could easily detach some Black Orcs or some of these supporting elements here, these Orc Boys, and maybe intercept this formation, because those Morgul's are certainly coming for blood. Now, all the Greenskin Archers are going to be unloading their volleys into Noctilus, and Noctilus does have some armor at 70, but Greenskin Archers, or Orc Archers, I should say, have 6 AP, much more than Goblins, so even though they're not quote-unquote AP units, with volume of fire, they can actually do some okay damage against armor, which is why you see them in the Vampire Coast matchup, as well as the Vampire Counts matchup. WAAAGH, in the meantime, who's bided his time. He's been very conservative this entire game, is going to be jumping in, and is he dropping a Spirit Leech? No, it looks like Invocation of the Heck is going to be going down on Count Noctilus. WAAAGH's coming in for that sweet booty. He's going to be chewing on some of these guys right here, maybe getting slapped with the Wraith Storm right now, so it looks like there might be some foul witchcraft in the skies. It's going to be coming down here and popping him as far as HP, 2400 to... 1900, give or take. Yeah, pretty good. Definitely good value from the Wraith Storm, but the bounce power is pretty heavily in the favor of the Greenskins. Even though they did take a bit of a beating initially, you can certainly see kind of the change, right? If there were summons before, pre-patch summons, the summons would be everywhere, just kind of tar pitting and giving more sustainability in your build. But now you certainly can't rely on summons as much. And you can see WAAAGH's going to be coming back here, chasing down Count Noctilus, and WAAAGH is a very powerful duelist. He does have a really good melee attack, great speed, 480 weapon strength, and a charge bonus of 80. So getting in here and attacking Noctilus isn't going to be bad. Granted, WAAAGH is taking some firepower as well. It looks like there was a handgun group over here, which is going to be laying into him. So the Greenskin player, Hadries, needs to be very careful not to lose WAAAGH to that firepower. That's one of the few ways the Vampire Coast could probably get back in this game here. Granted, they still do have mass terror. They do have the Night Hunters, so the standard Morgul's, of course, don't cause terror anymore, but the Night Terrors do actually cause terror. So a lot of the Greenskin forces are getting terror-routed here. You can see the Savage Orc Arrow Boys, the Savage Orc Arrow Boys, the Goblin Riders, all these guys are getting pushed off, and that's why having the Black Orcs is so good. If these were like Orc Boys or Savage Orcs or Biggins or anything like that, they could potentially just get terror-routed right there, and that would change the entire dynamic of this center pocket fight. In the meantime, these other Morgul's are going to be chasing upwards, trying to capitalize on the terror route, really getting rid of a lot of these units here. And there's also some pretty good Overwatch fire. Noctilus is actually stabilized. He's going to be shooting in. And the Bounce Fire is actually kind of going back and forth, almost creeping back into the middle towards the favor of the Vampire Coast. Granted, the Greenskins just have so much stuff. And even though these like air boys and archers are getting routed, they keep coming back. And every time they come back, it's another kind of a distance that the Vampire Coast units have to go to shut them down. And the archers are just, over the course of this long battle doing very well for themselves. In the meantime here, the Terrors in the night, the Night Terrors, is that what they're called, Night Terrors? Yeah. They're actually going to be karate slapping some of these Black Orcs right here. And they're pretty much designed to kill armored infantry. They have a bonus versus infantry, 120 weapon strength, great melee attack. So the Black Orcs in a little bit of trouble, but you got to give those guys props. They're not going to tear out. They're going to hold and keep these guys in place to allow the rest of the Greenskin forces to really do the heavy lifting. So over here, the Savage Orc Arrow Boys just pouring into these Morgul's and these zombies. You can see these guys are certainly not in the best shape. Zombos are going to be coming in, just wading through the tides of Greenskins, but it looks like the Greenskins, even Savage Orc Arrow Boys, these guys aren't terrible. They have 38 weapon strength in melee and also pretty good melee attack at 32. Yes, their melee defense is pretty pitiful, but again, you're not working against much melee attack with Deckhand mobs. You only have 14, so they're actually going to be dodging some of those attacks. WAAAGH's back up in the skies. He's probably going to be coming over here to finish off Count Noctilus. So it looks like he's going to be getting poked by some of these Savage Orc Arrow Boys. We do also have AP Cloonies and the Black Orcs here holding, and these Black Orcs are just so resilient. 186 kills, and it looks like there's going to be a Spirit Leech perhaps, or maybe a Vindictive Glare from one of the Goblins coming in, and how much? Ooh, that did like 400 damage. Great stuff there, and WAAAGH is probably going to be coming in to deliver the Death Thrust right here. And over there, the Night Terrors are going to be pushing after the Archers, but I have a feeling he's going to get slapped with army losses here in a moment. He does have the Handguns still online, but WAAAGH is going to be shutting those guys down. Black Orcs are just going to be crumping all over this gate right here. And Noctilus is going to be falling into a crowd of gibbering, angry Black Orcs. And oh no, he's going down. He's going down. Sometimes when they fall in the Black Orcs, it's pretty funny. They're falling units in general, but Noctilus is going to fall, and that's pretty much going to be all she wrote for the Vampire Coast. So well played to both players. It was definitely a very fun matchup. I liked it quite a bit. I liked Hadri's build, how he had some mixed forces. And just that massive amount of Orc Archers, those guys just work. 84, 57, 29, 63, 50 on his Archers just going across the board there. That's some really solid value. They were definitely able to outtrade the guns. And what's so good about having those like Savage Orc Archers is just like they're just so burly in melee that if somebody does summon zombies or get some hounds or just some infantry back there to shut them down, they are actually probably going to be able to beat down the zombie pirate Deckhand mobs, which is awesome. So they're kind of a dual purpose counter, right? They can beat the Deckhand mobs, they can also beat the guns. Definitely not bad. The Black Orcs were good. Oftentimes in my build, Vampire Coast against Greenskins, I'd like to mix in like one or two groups of Depth Guard because they're so good. Depth Guard annihilate pretty much all Greenskin infantry with the exception of Black Orcs. So they're a pretty safe pick, but again, having the double Black Orc is going to give you 2 answers against 2 groups of Depth Guard, which is usually the most you'll see. So very good stuff there. And of course, WAAAGH with Spirit Leech and the Vindictive Glare is extremely good against Count Noctilus. So certainly no complaints. So yeah, it was a very fun build. And for the build of Vampire Coast, like I said, I felt like it was a very pre-patch build, which is going to be a little bit more dependent on summons to kind of defend that massive back line because you have so many guns to protect. You had 4 of the Pistolier mobs, you had 3 of the handguns. that is a lot to protect for just yeah, you had a big front line, but they're going to be going, fisticuffs 1-for-1 against these Greenskins, which is not going to favor them. He did a pretty good job with his Morgul's, excuse me, like sweeping the back line and really controlling the battlefield, but even still, I feel like he just had too much to protect, and the Greenskins were able to eventually get in there. So very well played to Hadries as well as Cocaine Rat. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this Greenskin and Vampire Coast showdown, and we will see you guys next time. Take care.